So welcome. We really appreciate that you'll be joining us this morning or afternoon or evening, depending on where you are in the world. We're glad to have you here. We're here to help you become the food and hospitality professional you've always dreamt that you could be. Our motto at the CIA is food is life. And that's because food is at the center of everyone's life. It is because 100% of people need to eat. So having a deep hands-on understanding of food and the business of food gives you unlimited career opportunities. Over the next decade, it's expected that 1.6 million food industry jobs will be created, and that's just in the restaurant segment of the business. Today's food industry has a wide variety of opportunities beyond the restaurant. You can definitely become a successful chef or pastry chef, but you can also pursue a career in areas as diverse as beverage management, food policy, and research and development. Wherever you want to go in the food world, the CIA will help get you there. Our mission is to provide the world's best professional culinary education and successful life in food and hospitality, and we deliver that mission at all 4 of our campuses. Our main campus is in Hyde Park, New York, and it offers a full traditional college campus experience. Our California campus is a close-knit campus in the heart of Napa Valley, which is famed for its food and wine. Our Texas campus is an urban commuter campus in San Antonio in a city filled with a rich culinary culture. And our satellite campus in Singapore is located in the modern and vibrant city-state at the crossroads of Asia. When you enroll in a CIA bachelor's degree program in New York, you'll have a chance to spend a semester at one of our other CIA campuses. Choosing the college that's right for you, of course, is a really big decision. You'll discover that when it comes to the best education for your future success, there's a big difference between us and others. We offer world-class degree programs, and all of our undergraduate programs have a unique food and hospitality focus, and this includes a full semester of internship. Our associate degrees are 69 credit courses that give you the foundation of hands-on skills and practical knowledge you'll need for success in a variety of positions in the food world. Our bachelor's degrees, which are about 132 credit courses, prepare you for leadership careers in diverse areas of the business. You'll get a great mix of hands-on kitchen and bake shop experiences, as well as management, business, and hospitality knowledge to help you be successful. When you graduate with a CIA degree, you'll have instant credibility and valuable connections within the industry. Learning at its best, which includes more than 1,300 hours of hands-on learning in our kitchens and bake shops on campus. CIA students also spend 12 weeks in one of our award-winning public restaurants and cafes. We have 9 of those that serve over 300,000 people in the public across our 3 U.S. campuses. Our culinary science labs are where our curious students get to explore and experiment, as well as push the boundaries of the food world using the latest culinary technology and equipment. And of course, our innovation kitchen is where students in our business management program get to operate their own pop-up restaurant concept. As I said before, 100% of our students have the opportunity to be on an internship semester in the industry as part of their curriculum. You can choose from over 2,000 pre-approved sites, like some of the ones shown here. And many of our companies that choose their interns come to our career fairs, which I'll speak about in just a little bit. Most of our internships are paid, and the semester is also included within your tuition. You'll not only get great experience to put on your resume during this semester, but you'll also be able to get important professional contacts that you can use through. Our bachelor's concentrations let you go really deep into you'll gain the specialized skills and expertise that employers are looking for. You can choose from a wide variety of concentrations, and most include a semester away, and some are also right on our New York campus. If you'd like to immerse yourself in the ingredients, flavors, and techniques of some of the world's greatest culinary traditions, you can choose one of our world cuisines concentrations. You can spend a semester away at our Singapore campus, in Italy, in Japan, at our Texas campus, or in Spain, where you can experience the region's cuisines and culture. Or if you'd prefer to stay within the US at one of our US campuses, you can take a concentration that's focused on a specific area of the industry and spend the semester at our New York or California campus going deeper into wines and beverages, baking and pastry, farm to table cooking, We also offer the Global Cuisines and Cultures Travel Program as an elective course to our bachelor students. This program allows students to spend 2 weeks immersed in the food, culture, and culinary traditions of another country you see listed here. Our students like to call this an educational vacation because they get to learn, but they also get to enjoy and travel the world. Throughout your program, faculty, our chefs and professors come from all over the world and from all parts of the industry, bringing their experience to our students. You'll learn your practical skills and explore big ideas with these experts in their fields. These are just some of the fields that our chef instructors and our professors are representing when they are teaching you. Okay, on to student life, just to give you an idea of what it's like to actually live on campus. You'll be working hard, of course, at the CIA, so we want to make sure there's plenty of fun things for you to do so you can play hard as well. We have an amazing student commons on our campuses. You can hang out with your friends. You can join a student club. We have different activities throughout the year, such as cook-offs. We go to different places throughout the areas of our campuses, such as whitewater rafting, trips to New York City, or Six Flags. And then we also have really fun events like Wicked Weekend during the Halloween season and Stars and Stripes Weekend during the 4th of July season. So our mascot is called the Steels. It is named after the tools chefs use to sharpen their knives. And we compete in intercollegiate sports like basketball, volleyball, cross country, soccer, and tennis. We can also play intramural sports and take fitness classes or do yoga. You can also work out in our student recreation center where we have a gym, fitness center, pool, weight room, and rec. Living on campus is a really great way for you to be part of our community and also make friends for life. About 93% of our students choose to live on campus in our residence halls, lodges, and townhouses. And what's really great about our residence halls, there is a full working kitchen so you can relax, practice your skills, and also just hang out with your friends and cook. The CIA offers a lifelong advantage once you've completed your degree with us. We're here for you for the You'll be prepared to lead and excel in a wide variety of careers, and you'll also be part of a powerful network of CIA. Along with that, employers will seek you out because of the education you received with us at the CIA. Our career fair is held 3 times a year, and this is where the jobs will come to you. CIA's reputation draws top employers to campus 3 times a year, and each career fair includes more than 140 companies. Big names like Aramark, Google, Four Seasons Hotels and Resorts, McCormick, Marriott, Walt Disney Resorts, and the French Laundry, just to name a few, recruit our graduates and interns. CIA graduates are everywhere in the food world. They hire, support, and mentor each other throughout their careers. They understand the level of skill our students are coming out of our programs with, and they can recognize that serious passion. These are just a few of more than 50,000 CIA graduates working in a wide variety of careers. There's many other opportunities than just what these alums have done, but you may recognize some of them as they are top of their field. So how do you get here? How do you join this network of successful CIA graduates? You'll have a team throughout your entire process from the very beginning to after you've graduated. Our admissions counselors, like myself, are here to help you with the application and admissions process and get you your admissions decision. After you've been accepted to the school, you have an enrollment manager who is there to answer your questions about your financial aid and next steps of enrolling. Our Center for Career and Academic Advising staff is here to help you meet your goals, and you would receive free lifelong career services, again, including that career fair. You get to come to that no matter where you are in your career or how long it's been since you've graduated. Our financial planners are here to help make your education affordable. Your residence life staff will help you get the most out of living on campus. And then our CIA Cares program and Library Learning Commons are here to help with academic support, with collaborative study areas, tutoring, disability services, and more. Because you've joined us today, we know you already have a passion for food and hospitality. So now it's time to make it your life. As you've seen, the CIA is uniquely prepared to offer you the skills, knowledge, and lifelong career connections you need for your future. If you can picture yourself here, the next step, of course, is to apply. You'll want to start by filling out an application. We have the online application right on our website. You can also use the common application as well if you have access to that. Along with that, you'll need to submit a few different supplemental documents. We request a letter of recommendation. It does not need to be from someone in the industry. It is okay if they aren't in the industry. They just need to know you in an academic or professional setting and be able to speak about your character, your leadership abilities, and your passion for the industry. There are 3 essay questions that will be 100 words each as an answer. You can submit into why you're applying to the CIA, what you think your leadership strengths are, and what your plan is. So if you were to be accepted and finish your program, what you wanted to do in the industry after all of that. We would need a copy of your transcripts. If you've taken college credits, we'll need that, as well as your high school transcripts, and then proof of funding for your education at the CIA. Once all of this has been received, your admissions counselor will be able to get you an admissions decision from our admissions review committee. And if you've been accepted, you'll be able to submit your tuition deposit as well as an I-20 request form and be able to move forward with your next steps of getting your student visa. Duff Goldman, who is a graduate of the CIA, may look familiar to some of you if you watch some baking shows on TV. He said, when you leave here, you'll have a piece of paper that says you are a graduate of the Culinary Institute of America. That paper is a passport. With it, you can go anywhere, eat anywhere, and your life in food starts here.
Ellie, thanks so much. There's a lot of great information there. And I think now is a good time for us to transition into answering some of our students' questions. Once again, we get to see Ellie's face. Hope everybody has the ability to view. So let's start with a couple of general questions about the programs and what it's like to be a CIA student. So Morris Chang asks, do I need kitchen experience before applying to the CIA?
No, you do not. So we don't require you to have any experience in the industry before applying and getting accepted to the school. And it ranges for our students. So we do have some students who have experience, some students who have 0 experience before they start with us, and then some students who have been in the industry for decades and are just coming to the school to really help with getting them into the next step of their career. So don't worry if you don't have that experience. You're going to be getting quite a lot of it once you're in our programs and going through your internship semester as well as the restaurant semester as part of your curriculum.
Excellent, thank you. There's a really important question right at the top of the list that I wanted to address first, or should have addressed first, because I think it speaks to a lot of the concerns that our students have right now. So one of our students asks, post-COVID-19, since there will be travel restrictions, will CIA allow foreign students? And I'd like to answer this one. So the answer to that question is yes, absolutely. We will accept foreign students. We are still planning to accept foreign students. We actually have quite a robust roster coming in for the fall. The challenge is going to lie in your particular locality. So depending on where you are in the world, some embassies are still closed. Some airports are not offering international flights. For example, the last time we checked in India, international flights were not allowed to enter or depart from airports in India. So it really depends on where you live and the particular challenges that you are going to be facing when it comes to applying for a visa and securing your travel plans. However, to the extent that CIA is open and accepting students, international students will absolutely be welcome at our campus. There are some travel restrictions around the world, but as the situation eases, those are being lifted on a case-by-case basis. So make sure to check the State Department website, make sure to check on your travel plans, and if you have any questions along the way, you can always write to us and ask. We're happy to help. Okay, let's switch back to some general questions. We have a question from, do we have free accommodation while studying on campus? Ellie, I think you can answer this.
Right, absolutely. So It is not free. However, it is built in with your tuition and fees, the cost of that. So the cost for living on campus, it's actually really beneficial to live on campus rather than off campus. Basically, all of your utility costs, like electricity, Wi-Fi, cable, laundry services, all that kind of stuff is going to be built in within your housing cost on campus. For our New York and California campuses, it averages about $3,800 per semester, $3,800 per semester to $4,200 per semester. And the reason for the difference is because of the different types of housing we have. So regular residence halls will be at the lower end of those costs. And then our townhouses and lodges are at the higher end of those costs. The difference between those types of living arrangements, in case you aren't familiar with U.S. University and college residence halls or townhouses and lodges. Our residence halls are traditional dorm rooms, so typically 2 people to a room, and there are some suite style rooms available in those halls as well, which typically have about 4 students in each room. And then our townhouses and lodges are more like an apartment style living, but those costs, like I said, are built within the tuition and fees and include all of your utilities, your laundry, your access to, your common area, your computer room, your kitchen within the building, all that kind of stuff. So it's included within that.
Excellent. Thank you, Ellie. Here's another great question. Does the associate degree have the same career options and learning experience as the bachelor's degree? Now, I think there's lots of different ways to answer this question. So maybe we can start with a short explanation about the difference between the 2 degrees, and then sort of how they build toward careers in those particular areas.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great question. So our associate's degrees are really focusing on the hands-on coursework, either in culinary arts or baking and pastry arts. So you're going to get a really amazing set of skills to use practically in the industry, in the kitchens, or in a bake shop as a pastry chef. So you'll have a great way to get into the industry and do those hands-on things right away. Usually with our bachelor's degrees, I would say that they are giving you a leg up in different areas of the career path you might have. They're going to give you a lot more foundation in terms of academic courses that will help you be successful in the business side of the industry. There are some factors in the associate's degree where you'll be learning hospitality, sort of management kind of things, and some business classes and things like that, but it definitely focuses a lot more on the hands-on coursework. Our bachelor's degrees will give you that additional coursework in academics to be successful as a business leader or a manager. You can absolutely work your way to that from the associate's degree if you didn't want to do the bachelor's degree, but the bachelor's degree is going to give you the academic foundation where you can get there maybe a little bit faster. It definitely helps enhance your resume and your experiences so you can get to that position quicker within the industry.
Great, Ellie, thanks. So here's an easy one, but maybe we can speak to the larger sort of requirements for English proficiency when we talk about this. So at the campus, do the teachers speak English or another language?
That is a great question, and I actually just now realized I did not speak about that in the requirements. So thank you for asking that question. Yes, our students are expected to be proficient in English, in reading, writing, listening, because everything will be in English when you're on campus in your classes. We require an English language exam. That typically ends up being either a TOEFL exam or an IELTS exam. For students who take the IELTS, if they would prefer to do that exam, you would need to get a total band score of 6.0 or higher to be meeting our requirement for the admission for your application. For the TOEFL exam, it is a 20 points in each band score, and then a total points of at least 80 for the total score for your exam to meet our requirement. With that being said, if you were to be interested in, maybe studying English at an English language center or one of our partner English schools, we would be able to do a provisional review for your application based upon your English language requirement. And as long as you worked towards that English requirement with one of our partner schools for English language and finished the level needed for those programs to get your full acceptance, will be able to help you with that and get you your full acceptance to the school. And then there is also an English language waiver for students who either their first language is English, or they have been to a school, whether it's high school or university, college level English classes, spoken in English, taught in English for a specific amount of time. And it also has a GPA requirement as well as part of the English language waiver requirement of 3.0 and a US GPA or higher to be able to receive the waiver. But if you were in that situation, work with your counselor, either myself or my colleague Dan. We would be able to work with you and look at your transcripts and see if you would be eligible for that waiver.
Thanks, Ellie. Next question, do we have a bachelor's degree for culinary arts?
Cool question. So the answer is yes. But there is a caveat to that. So our bachelor's in culinary arts is part of our degree completion program. And that is for students who have at least 30 eligible transfer credits from another university or college. They can transfer in up to 60 credits as part of that program. But basically with that program, is what it does is it allows you to use the credits you've received at another college or university and use them towards your degree with us to complete a bachelor's degree. You would get all of the same hands-on coursework that an associate level degree or a bachelor's degree with the core of culinary arts would have. You would get all of that coursework. There's still the internship semester as well as the restaurant semesters. But then you would have to take additional academic classes with the CIA to complete the number of credits needed for the accreditation to be awarded for a bachelor's level degree.
That's great, Ellie. And I also want to make sure that students understand, and that this is clear, is that if you do the associate degree or the bachelor's degree at CIA, the education pathway can be very similar. So the associate degree curriculum is incorporated into the bachelor's degree. So let's say, for example, that you decide to do the bachelor's degree in food business management. You're taking the entire curriculum from the associate degree and you're incorporating it into the bachelor's degree in food business management. So essentially you're taking your business courses and your culinary courses and your academic courses all together at the same time. So it's a little bit different than some of the education models that you'll see at other universities, but essentially it takes the associate degree and builds on it. So you're not losing anything in the transition. I think that's an important distinction for students to understand. Next, I want to ask a question about the ACAP program. So it says, I'm an international student interested in ACAP. What student visa would I be eligible for, and would I also be eligible to get work experience in the U.S. after the ACAP program? So a little complicated, but I think a good question about that program.
Absolutely. And for those of you that might not know what the ACAP program is, it is our Accelerated Culinary Arts Certificate program at our California campus. So that program is really meant for students who already have a bachelor's degree. It doesn't have to be within the industry, but generally students will have a business degree or an economics degree or something like that, maybe a hospitality degree, and they want to get more hands-on culinary arts experience. So it's a certificate program. It would not be a full degree program, but it is a certificate program where you really get the really amazing skills in the culinary arts that our culinary arts professors and chef instructors offer at the CIA. It's an 8-month program at our California campus, and you would, as an international student, be required to be on an M1 visa, which would allow you to come, and it does not actually allow any kind of work while you're in the U.S., whether it's during your program or after. It actually is just strictly so you can come for the certificate program and study for that certificate program, and then once you've completed it, you would need to return to your home country. If you were to be interested in working in the U.S., definitely our associate's or bachelor's degrees are where you want to go to, because you'll be on an F1 visa for those programs. And the F1 visa allows you not only to work part-time while you're in classes, but it also allows you to have your internship semester, which, like I said during my presentation, about 80% of the internship sites are paid or give you some type of stipend, something like that. And then you also have the option for optional practical training for a year after graduating from your program with us on that F1 visa. And that allows you to work full-time in the US for a year.
Great, thanks, Ellie. So, I had a question and I lost it. Give me 1 second. One of the things that we haven't really addressed yet is the fee structure in total for our students. So let's look at that from a year-long academic perspective. And then what types of scholarships and support students have?
Absolutely, yeah. So I will give you the overall cost for an academic year, and I'll tell you what is included within that cost. It is $45,000 per academic year, split within the 2 semesters. So our academic year is a 2-semester model. Within those costs include the housing costs, like I spoke about just a little bit ago. Your meal plan is included within that cost. Your tuition payments are included within that cost, as well as your supplies. So your chef whites, your knife kit, those are all included within that cost of tuition and fees. And then in terms of the scholarships and potential financial aid that is available for international students. We do have a merit-based scholarship program for international students, and that is based off of the marks or grades that you submit as part of your application process on your transcript or transcripts, depending on where you've been to school, if you've been to high school and college or just high school. We take your GPA from your school, and then we convert that to a US GPA to take a look to see what kind of merit-based scholarship you would be eligible for. In our merit-based scholarship program, the highest level of that is a $2,500 award per academic year, and it can be renewed each academic year as long as you maintain a 3.0 GPA or higher while studying at the CIA in your program. We also have an alumni referral scholarship that is for students if they are able to submit a letter of recommendation written by a CIA graduate. We will be able to award you a one-time first-year $1,000 scholarship for your payments.
Great, thanks, Ellie. I also want to point out that international students are not charged a higher tuition fee than our local or domestic US students. Every student is charged the same amount for their education, the only difference being that international students do not qualify for federally backed scholarship and financial aid programs, and there are certain other restrictions about the kinds of aids that students get. But we're not, there is no difference between in-state, out-of-state tuition. There's no difference for domestic and international tuition. We charge everyone the same fee. It's just a question of how much financial aid you are eligible for. Great. So once again, I lost the question I wanted to ask next in the list. Students are asking, so do we need, what kind of academic success or grades or, experience do students need to apply to the CIA? So I think we can speak to the larger scenario here for students that are seeking culinary education.
Absolutely, yeah. So part of our application process, we look at it in a holistic way. So we really are looking, I think the most important part of the application process, honestly, when a student's application is being reviewed is the passion. Being passionate about being in the industry and gaining an education in the industry, because it's definitely a very specialized part of a career to have a culinary or baking and pastry arts degree. So, having a student be very passionate about what they want to study and why they want to study it is definitely incredibly helpful in the application process. And that can be shown through your essays and, of course, your letter of recommendation. In terms of grades, so it's kind of hard to answer this question because a US GPA is different in every single country that we work with. So it could look very different in, in Nigeria versus in India versus in China. So it could very much look different in those countries and their education systems. I will tell you though, our average GPA in a US term is about 2.5 on a 4.0 scale. But like I said before, when I was talking about the financial aid aspect, we take our students' transcripts and convert them to a US GPA. GPAs are important because we want you to be able to be successful in our academic and the academic portions of your hands-on classes. But if you don't reach a specific GPA, we're not going to automatically just deny you. We're going to take, like I said, a holistic look at your application and the materials you submit. Even if you don't have actual industry experience in terms of working in a restaurant or a bake shop or something like that, we've had students in the past that don't have that experience. However, they do their own cooking or their own baking on their own, and they have sort of like a portfolio that they submit to. So if you have something like that, that's always a great way to show your passion as well, if you wanted to submit something like that with your application folder. But yeah, so I think it really comes down to that passion. As long as you have that passion and you're able to show that in your application, you'll definitely be a good candidate for consideration.
Great, Ellie, thanks. So what was the next one I wanted to? We have some questions about students who have maybe divergent experience before selecting their path toward the CIA. So I have one student who asked, oh, I'm sorry, I lost the exact wording of the question, but essentially, if a student has experience in other fields or has studied in other fields before wanting to pursue an education at CIA, does that restrict them? What are their options like? Maybe we could speak to that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it doesn't really matter in terms of where you were before this. We don't, look at anyone's previous experience in any type of negative way. It's really more just making sure that you have that passion, even if it was when you were 30, 40, 50 years old. If you're a career changer, that is definitely something a lot of our students are. We have a lot of students who are not starting out right out of high school. I would say probably about half of our population are students who are coming right from high school. The other half are definitely students who are maybe in another industry. I actually was just speaking with a student recently who has been in library science for the majority of her career, but she's interested in changing her career path to baking and pastry arts. So it's definitely a very common occurrence with our students. There are definitely people who, maybe they wanted to get a strong financial foundation before they pursued something else within their lives, or they didn't realize that they were so interested in the culinary or baking and pastry arts until later on in their life. And then they finally found that passion and they want to pursue a degree in it. So, it's definitely a very common occurrence with our students that you might be from a completely different part of another industry and you're going to a totally different path for your career. It's actually pretty cool. I think it just goes to show you how, food can really be igniting someone's passion.
Great, Ellie. Thank you very much. So this is a great question because I recognize the name of the school. So the student asked, currently I'm pursuing a bachelor's degree in culinary arts from Wellcome Group Graduate School of Hotel Administration, which is in India, and also the alma mater of one of our better known graduates in India, Thomas Zacharias, who owns several restaurants in and around Mumbai. So they ask, I want to join, I'm currently pursuing a bachelor's in culinary arts from Wellcome Group Graduate School, but I want to join CIA. Is there any problem with that? And I think, again, this can speak to the larger question of what sort of experience do I need? I know that students like to attack this question from lots of different angles. I don't have any culinary experience, but I'm interested. I studied engineering for a while, and then in this case, the student actually does have some educational experience. So maybe we can also address that, but also how transfer credits work.
Absolutely, yeah. So like I said, if you have experience, that's excellent. If you don't have experience, that's also excellent because you'll be learning from our amazing chef instructors when you're in your hands-on courses. So definitely having a background is great because it definitely shows your passion for the industry and why you're choosing this path for your next step. And then in terms of transfer credits, so we do have the ability to transfer in credits from other universities or colleges, or if you've taken IB kind of classes in your high school, that is a possibility. What happens is you would need to submit a copy of your transcript, and if it's from a foreign university, which in this case it is, we do also ask for course descriptions for the classes you'd like to be considered for transfer credit. And this is just so we can make sure it matches up with anything in our curriculum for the program you're specifically applying for. I can tell you that our hands-on courses, we typically don't really allow transfer credits in, just because our curriculum, we pride ourselves in having, the best culinary education or best baking and pastry arts education for our students. So with the hands-on courses, it's a bit difficult to get transfer credit in. However, with other academic courses or potential hospitality courses, we are able to review those and see what would be eligible to transfer in for your program, whether it helps you knock off a couple of classes or maybe a semester or two, depending on how many credits you can transfer in. We are more than happy to review that for you.
Thanks, Ellie. Great answer. So I'm going to fire a couple simple ones at you. So number one, when will the next semester start?
Okay, so Steve, if it's okay, I'm just going to say the summer, but then I'll focus mostly on the fall.
Sure. Summer's a little complicated, and I think everybody expects that. I think everybody's sort of anticipating that there's some, give and take that's going on with the summer semester. But and then we'll focus on the fall, which is going to be a much more traditional intake.
Absolutely. Yeah. So our summer session's actually starting on May 18th, so 4 days from now. That is, like Steve said, it's a little complicated just because of the current situation. So I would say the next viable start date for most of our international students, if not all of them, would be our September 8th start date this fall. And that, like Steve said, it's going to be more traditional. We are definitely going to be expecting quite a lot of students starting on that date. I believe it's going to be a great mix of students from high school and students from different areas of their lives. But we will be expecting probably, I think we're aiming for maybe 900 students at the moment for that start date in all different programs within the CIA. But September 8th is that next start date. And we will be starting our bachelor's programs and our associate programs, as well as the ACAP program during that start date for all three campuses.
Great, Ellie. Thank you very much. So I have another one that I would like to fire at you. Can we work part-time along with studying? So I think this is great. International students actually have this great benefit. So yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, you can. We love it when our students want to do that, actually, because I think that it really helps them kind of get more used to the U.S., especially if you're coming from a place that is very different from the U.S., or if it's your first time in the U.S. We definitely love to have our international students working part-time while they're doing their programs. But it is an option. With the F1 visa, students are able to work up to 20 hours per week while classes are in session. And we have a lot of different areas on campus that you can work in, including different offices we have students who work with admissions, students who are able to give tours actually of campus. They get trained in the different areas of campus, and they get to learn a lot about the campus that they might not know otherwise, and they get to give tours either to our admission events participants or to just the public if they are interested in a hospitality tour. There's the bookshop. We have something called Restaurant Associates, which is an internal catering service that works our big events, and students are able to work with them. There's places in our student commons you can work. There's also places in the library and that kind of stuff. So you'll have a lot of opportunity in different areas of the school to work in if you would like to while you're in your classes. Yeah.
Let's not forget also we have lots of clerical and administrative jobs. So like, for example, we in the admissions and enrollment department employ a number of CIA students to do, to help the administrative tasks of the enrollment and administration department, or the admissions department rather. So yeah, there's lots of different opportunities, as Ellie said. So next question. This is actually, I get this question a lot. So how does the CIA deal with students' food allergies? So for example, being allergic to a certain kind of nut or a certain kind of flour or maybe shellfish or something like that. So maybe you could speak to that for us.
Absolutely. So we do have an office on our campus. Actually, all three campuses have some type of office that works with these kinds of issues. It's accommodations, basically. So what you would need to do is if you did have that situation, we would get you in touch with our person in charge of that office on our New York campus. It's Jody Amato. But basically, she would work with you to see if there's a way to modify your classes or use different types of protective equipment or something like that to help you be in the class class, but also keep you safe from your allergy. It would be a case-by-case basis, of course, but we would be more than happy to help at least try to get you a way for you to go through the program and be able to keep yourself safe, but then also meet the requirements for your classes.
That's great. So here's another question, and I love this question because it shows the passion that our students have. So I'd like to take this one if I could. So it says, for showing our passion about the food industry, Ellie mentioned that we can upload dishes we made and or pastries we made, and would the admissions review committee expect to see it through photos or videos? So the answer to that is, tell us as much about yourself as possible in your application. What we want to know about you, what your interests are, what kind of leadership experience you have, what your passions are, what drove you to be seeking an education and a career in like the culinary or hospitality industry. If you have photos you would like to upload, please do. We'd love to see dishes that you've made or like kind of experiments that you worked on. We also have lots of students who come to us from backgrounds that are not in the hospitality industry. So I, for example, have read applications for students that went into construction management and engineering and all kinds of different things like that. And they shared those experiences with us too, because that experience that they had both in their education and in the professional world lends itself to the kind of discipline and sort of and determination that you need to be a culinarian or to be a hospitality professional or a food business person. So tell us as much about yourself as possible. And if that includes you uploading photos of like pastries and dishes that you've made, fantastic. And if you don't have those things, tell us about what you did up until the point that you decided that the food world was really the world that you needed to live in. So tell us as much about yourself as possible. I have a student, so maybe there's a little confusion or people need some clarification, but what is an associate degree?
Yes. Okay, so an associate degree, in our terms at least, it's a 2-year degree. So it kind of is a stepping stone, I guess, if you were interested in doing a bachelor's degree, but you weren't sure what your major was going to be just yet. You can use the associate degree to at least get your hands-on coursework in either culinary or baking and pastry arts completed. For the overall general associate's degree, I would say typically it's usually, it does usually focus on more of a technical kind of skill. It would give you that hands-on skill, whether it's in the culinary world or in, a mechanics kind of world or construction kind of thing. But it's a 2-year degree. So it's usually, it helps with you getting your foot in the door, understanding the industry, and then you can build upon it if you'd like to get your bachelor's degree and figure out what your major would be. Or you can use the associate's degree to, you can use it to be successful in a career in the industry. So it's a stepping stone, it's a starting point, but it's also a way for you to gain skills that are necessary to be successful. Do you want to add anything to that, Steve? I feel like my answer.
No, I think, well, because associate degrees at different schools represent sort of different accomplishments, right? Like I myself went to a community college before I started my undergraduate degree at a larger 4-year institution that offered both bachelor's degrees and master's degrees and postgraduate degrees and all that kind of stuff. So it is a little bit confusing looking at it from the outside. For example, when I went to community college, I took what was called an AA degree or an Associate of Arts. So I studied general education courses, and it took me 2 years to complete that program. So I studied things like English and math and psychology and economics and arts, and I took some writing classes and things like that, and it was a great experience. But for me, the associate degree was getting, like you said, my foot in the door and getting my marks and my grades to a place where I was comfortable enough with them to start applying to larger schools. But at the CIA, the difference is that the associate degree just really is a degree that focuses on hands-on skills with some academic courses. But it is for some students, it is a pathway to a 4-year college degree. For some students, that's the extent of the education that they pursue. Some students stop at the associate degree. They just want to get out into the workforce. They want to take those skills from culinary or baking and get right into the kitchen and start working or opening up a business or something like that. So the real, I think, explanation for us is, what is an associate degree at CIA? Well, it's different from the kind of associate degree that you would get at a community college or something like that, but it is a college degree. And our degree focuses more on hands-on skills and academics that support those skills when you go out into the food business world. Mm-hmm. So thank you for asking that one. Okay, let's move on. Oh, so here's a good question. Is there the question is there a Chinese Student Association organization at every campus in the U.S.? But I think this gives us an opportunity to talk about student life, clubs, student government, that kind of thing. So we can answer that question. There is not a Chinese association at every campus. There is one in New York. But Ellie, if you want to tell us about the larger world of student life, maybe you could give us some info about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So with our clubs, actually, I believe right now we have somewhere between 25 and 30 different types of clubs on campus in New York. So part of our student life is those clubs, because students can come together with people they know already from their classes or where they're living on campus, or meet new people that they didn't know before. And the clubs range from anything from a wine club to a book club to a music club, gaming club. There are, I believe that there's also a Korean culture club as well, including the Chinese club. So there's, different types of clubs. And also, if a student doesn't see a club that they want to be a part of, they can petition to create that club, as long as they have a certain number of interested other students. That can be something that happens. So, we don't have a limit on how many clubs we have on campus. So as long as there's interest in it, it can be something that is created. And then in terms of just regular student life also, we have so many different activities that literally every single day of every month school is in session, there's something going on. Our student services office and student activities office, they do an amazing job of creating different fun activities for students to join. And I believe pretty much everything is free, at least on campus activities, it's free. So you don't have to pay anything extra. You just need to be a student to join it. There's things like karaoke nights. We have movies that we show on campus. There are magicians that come to campus. There's hypnotists that come to campus, comedians. So it's, really extensive different activities that you can join as part of the campus life in being a CIA student. And then I think I did mention the cook-offs before. I wanted to actually come back to that, because I don't think I explained a little bit more about what that was like. It's actually an opportunity for scholarships. So we have a few different competitions throughout the year for students to join. And basically, like a cook-off, we have a chili cook-off. So the best chili, it's judged by, I believe, faculty and staff on campus. Whoever wins that can potentially get a scholarship to go towards their tuition. And as far as I am aware, international students are eligible for this kind of thing. There's also something called Run for Your Knives, which we do each year, which is a run on campus, and there's tons of scholarship opportunities as part of that fun event as well. And then, just different things around the campuses too. I know Steve and I work primarily in our New York campus, so we're much more familiar with that campus than our Texas and California campus, but the areas surrounding our campuses are really amazing for opportunities to see different parts of the U.S. Our New York campus specifically has tons of hiking areas. There's different cool places to go. You can, of course, visit different cool restaurants in all the towns surrounding our campus. Napa Valley is Napa Valley. So if you are in the California campus, you can do wine tastings, go to really amazing high-end restaurants if you wanted to. I believe there's also hiking around there too. And then in our Texas campus in San Antonio, it's right along the Riverwalk, which is a really amazing outdoor kind of venue with a lot of different restaurants and shops that you would be able to experience and enjoy too. So, not just on-campus stuff as part of being a CIA student, but surrounding areas too are really great to explore.
I agree. Thanks, Ellie. So there's a question that I would like to address because it involves some questions about visas and payments and things like that. So for students getting visas to the USA, I think there's some uncertainty, and people are concerned about like what the visa issuance rate looks like with the current administration and things like that. I will tell everybody that despite lots of media noise and all that kind of stuff, the visa issuance rate has not changed much. There are certain countries that are now restricted from traveling to the USA, but I will say that on the whole, student visas are still not any harder to get than they have been over the last 5 or 10 years or so. So one of the questions is, what are the chances of getting a visa after paying or part or all of the tuition? This is a good opportunity for us to talk about the timeline for what it's like for a student who's applying to for a school in the United States. Once you submit your application and your application is completed, it goes into a review stage where our applications review committee will evaluate your application, determine if you are admissible and eligible to enroll at the school, and issue you an admissions decision. As an international student, once you get your admissions decision, it is then your responsibility to make your tuition deposit. And once you make your tuition deposit, which at the CIA is $300, you will be issued what's called the Form I-20. Okay, so the Form I-20 is a piece of paper that has all of your official information on it for where you'll be studying and where in the United States you'll be going. You take that piece of paper and you go online and you make a reservation at the U.S. consulate for a visa interview. They will give you a day and a time to report to the consulate, and your interview will be conducted with a visa consular officer. It usually takes just a matter of minutes. And you need to be prepared to answer some questions about why you're going to the United States, maybe show your proof of funding and other things, so bring your paperwork with you. For most students that are planning this process takes place over the course of a couple of months. So with the exception of a few students every year, you should not be paying your tuition and doing your visa interview at the same time. For most students, you would take your visa interview before making your tuition payment. And tuition payments at the CIA are due at minimum 30 days before your program begins. So let's say, for example, you are going to be starting in September. Your tuition payment will be due at the beginning of August. But you should have already planned your visa interview beforehand. So, those are some considerations. And if you are considering at this time enrolling at the CIA for September, there is still time for you to do these things. We work very quickly at the CIA. If your application is complete, you usually have your admissions decision within a matter of days, if not 24 hours. So we do move very quickly. And then, we can go through the process of depositing and issuing your I-20. So I hope that sort of outlines the process a little bit, and gives people some of the information, because I'm seeing a number of questions popping up about visas and that whole process. Of course, if you need more in-depth information, or you'd like to discuss this one-on-one with your admissions counselor, please write to us. We'd be happy to set up a one-on-one consultation with you, whether through Zoom or Skype or whatever. We have lots of different tools that we can use to reach you where you are, even if it's just chatting over the phone. Okay, so if more of those questions come in, please do let us know. We're coming up on the end of our hour, and I want to respect everybody's time. One of our students asked, what do you offer in your internships? I know you mentioned this in your presentation, Ellie, but I think the world of the internship at CIA is so large that maybe we can just dive into that a little bit more and what it's like for our international students.
Yeah, absolutely. So I said in the presentation, we have over 2,000 pre-approved sites, and they really are all different areas of the industry. So what happens is you use that career fair that we hold to really network and to see what's out there, but there's also an internal list, because of course not 2,000 sites come to the CIA for the career fair. So we have an internal list that students are able to access to see who is offering internship sites that are already approved for our students to go to. There's an application process that you would use with your academic advisor for that internship internship semester. Most of the time, our students get their first choice in their internship site. There are definitely cases where you might have to do your second choice just because your first choice was a very popular choice for other students as well, and they can only take so many students at once at that internship site. But you would work through that application process with your academic advisor. Like I said, also about 80% of those internship sites do pay their students while they're there. If they don't pay, they might give you a stipend for your expenses, or they'll give you free housing. Like for instance, Walt Disney World, you'll be staying on their property while you're at your internship site. So that is part of the benefit of going to that kind of site. But it ranges, like I said, from all different areas. So it's a hospitality-based resorts. There's high-end dining, like the French Laundry was one of the main ones that a lot of students actually ask about. And they're all over. The sites are all over the U.S. There are some abroad, but for the most part, they're within the U.S. A lot of course, in New York, California, Texas, but then there's different sites all over the place. I actually was speaking with a student who did his internship in Hawaii, and he was at a restaurant in Hawaii, and he loved it. It was amazing. Definitely an amazing experience for him. So, just different sites all over the country. And then, like I said, it ranges. If you're interested in research and development, you'll definitely find sites like that. If you're interested in farm to table agricultural kind of cooking instead of a fine dining cooking, you can absolutely find sites like that. If you are just baking and pastry focused only, there's definitely sites for that. Culinary focused only as well, sites for that. So there's a lot of, it ranges, but you'll have so many different sites to choose from. And I think the best way to go about it is figuring out what your goals are and where you want to focus, and working with your academic advisor, because you'll be assigned someone to help with your future classes, getting them scheduled, as well as the internship site. So, getting a good idea of what you want to do and where you want to go. Even if maybe it changes by the end of your degree, at least you'll have that experience in knowing, okay, you know what, this actually isn't for me. I'd rather do this instead. So yeah, using as many of your resources that you have as possible to figure out where your internship would be best spent. Yeah.
Excellent. There are, of course, more questions, but I think we're going to have to leave it there because we are coming up to the end of the hour. I just want to give everyone reassurance, of course, that if we did not get to your question, we will reach out to you after this by email, or we will call if you are already a student that has a profile in our system, in our database. But I want to say, of course, thank you very much for coming. Ellie, you did a fantastic job. Thanks for all of the information that you provided for us today. And once again, if there's something that you were concerned about asking, or we didn't get a chance to answer your question, or there's more to it that you'd just like to open up a discussion, please email us. You can reach Ellie at her email address, which I will type into the chat bar. Okay, and of course, my email address as well. Okay, we are here to help. That's literally the job that we have been assigned to do. So we look forward to hearing from all of you. And again, thanks very much for joining us today. We hope to see you at the CIA sometime in the future.
Thank you, everyone. It was great to virtually meet you today.